Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to once again respond by way, again, the anti-dog trainer had put up a live stream, which he since turned to private. And the title of that live stream was that he doesn't use food in training, basically. And I want to respond because here's the thing. This goes beyond just the issue about not using food, okay? And of course, motivating dogs using motivating agents is a problem, okay? And beyond just using food, okay? And I'll put up another video talking about this, that what has already been established in the relationship becomes its own motivating agent, okay, through certain supply sources. So if you're motivating dogs in a superficial way and focusing in on those responses as a standard, okay, there's a problem. So beyond food, okay, motivating agents in general and the relationship itself, based again on what's already established, becomes a issue, or can become an issue. Now, to go further with this, okay, this whole thing about just saying, well, I don't use food, is the method itself. This is where, again, you go back and watch my, that whole kind of episode where with the anti-dog trainer, everything kind of broke or fell apart. So ask yourself the question, like, what point did it fall apart? Well, we get into the specifics as to the leash, right, and the role of influence and control, how that ties in that way. You'll see that moment where, he had problems, right, reconciling the role of certain things such as the leash, and wanting to very quickly, he kept going on, and he's repeating himself over and over again about, the off-leash dog, okay, which, is funny to me because it's all about how you get there, right? And, whether or not the relationship or the perception of the dog have changed the right way when you do get there, okay? So it's all about getting there, but it's about the how part and the why part and how that all ties in, okay? Those are the gaps in his idea of things. And, the issue about, again, I go with this thing about, influence and control, how they specifically align through interacting with the dog as the dog's expressing control. One of those things is in one of the videos I pointed out, the food dish, right? Getting the dog to wait and just kind of, playing it in terms of blocking the dog, stepping in front of the dog, and then defining those responses. That's the same type of thing I'm talking about, as just automatically assuming that they're good to go, that represents hey, the dog's waiting, it's good. But again, I'll go back, well, what's the criteria to establish that if it's not defined the way that I show, right? So all to say that, trainers out there can say certain things that are some half-truth in them, and I can agree to say, hey, no, don't use motivating agents. But then, see, this is where you get into the actual method itself. This leads up to moments where, say, Grey Goose's head almost gets ripped off from another dog. Okay, or potential of that. Bad things happen. Or he talked about where he's been bitten before. That's like something that's not meant to be, a badge of honor, or you don't want those things to happen, because once a bite happens, it can take hope out of a situation very quickly. Even if the dog's never bitten before and the dog's bitten the trainer, you can walk away, and how do you know that dog owner hasn't given up on that dog? There's all those things, because that brings a whole nother element into it. So, the thing is, you want to, do things in a way that's going to line up, prevent certain things from happening, make sure change is happening, make sure you're not blindsided because you assume things that aren't true. All those things factor in. So that's all to say. Again, I want to mention that because you get people out there like the anti-dog trainer saying stuff that they're based it on their idea of things. But again, everything I put out there about a process, about the role of influence and control, the leash, everything I say can be put to the test. Okay, understand that there's nothing hidden. And so when these guys are making comments, just look at the moments. I did a whole series of videos showing right out there, showing certain moments that are a major problem. Thanks for watching.